Hi everyone, and happy Friday. I hope that wherever you are, you're having a beautiful day. Um, and wherever you are in the world, um, that this weekend is a good one for you. So, as you can tell, we're not doing a tarot reading, although I may do that later, but today is a special video. For those who are new to this channel, welcome to A Light Heart Tarot, and for those who have been here, thank you so much. And I really mean that. I have been watching how this group is growing and is supporting each other and holding each other during the difficult times that each one of you are experiencing. And it is an honor to be able to offer this sacred space, as well as to offer and to help where I am able to. And so that is what the purpose of today's video is going to be about. As you've heard me in my videos before mention, we are all able to communicate with our loved ones. It's a matter of finding the right frequency. And it's like kind of like a radio station, right? In which it has static and all of these different stations that are trying to come in, and you're trying to find the right frequency on how to connect with your loved one. However, there are things and insights that I want to share with you, because the process to that is not always quick, and it's a different experience for everyone. And so I want everyone to be aware, so that as we are on this journey and communicating, and we're also finding ways in this new life, what I call the new normal, in living with a loved one on the other side, how to connect, how to ground, and also how to find those pockets of peace and of healing, moments of healing. So in this video, I want to talk about three things. I want to talk about the differences between the physical world and the energetic world. I want to talk about what happens when a person crosses over. And then I want to talk about ways that you are able to communicate with your loved one. And I'm hoping, as we have this ongoing dialogue and this conversation, that for those of you who are looking for ways to connect, it may offer new opportunities, to get insights, to be able to deepen the connection with your loved one and with yourself, but also to help with healing. And when I say the word healing, I don't want someone to think that I'm trying to say to move on, because that's not what any of us are doing. But we are moving forward and trying to navigate through this new way. So I also want to put in a caveat that many of my experiences have come not only from me working as a medium and a channel, and with my partner Derek, who is on the other side, but it is also accumulation of work that I've done with therapists and psychotherapists who have done extensive work with doing life between life regressions, also taking down countless stories from different people and their experiences, from near-death experiences to those who have lost someone and the experiences that they have journaled. So it is, and research that I have done with teachers from around the world. All that being said, I'm still learning, as we all are still learning. We're all students in this life. And so whatever I say in this video, if it resonates, wonderful. And if it doesn't, it's okay as well. Because, and especially when it's something as close and personal as grief, we all have to move at a pace that feels comfortable for us, and be able to take it one step at a time to allow ourselves to find what works for us. So let's get started. And one more thing I want to say, if you see me looking this way, it's because I wrote a whole bunch of notes down and I want to make sure I don't forget. So the first thing I want to talk about is the differences between physical 3D and the energetic 5D, 6D, 7D, and it goes all the way up. So physical 3D, there is a difference in time. Here we have created this measurement called time, in which we measure 60 seconds to be a minute, so many minutes, 60 minutes to be an hour, and then you have days and weeks and years and so forth. And if everything is going fine, even that measurement of time, you feel it. You feel the measurement of, oh, I have an hour to get to an appointment. I have this project that is coming up in 6 months, or I have only 10 minutes to put money into a parking meter. So you feel the differences in that time. When we lose someone, and when we are now surrounded with the loss of someone who is so paramount in our physical life, then that time stretches. The hour feels like a day, the day feels like a month, and it just keeps on. And sometimes, even when we have passed many years, we can then have that feeling of that something just happened yesterday. On the energetic side, there is no such thing as time. There's no seconds, there are no minutes, there's nothing, no watches or anything like that. And so for our loved ones who have crossed over, that 5 months to us may only feel like 5 seconds or 5 minutes to them. And so I say all of that because that is an important factor when it comes to communicating with those on the other side, because we may be looking for answers and we may be looking for signs from them. And for them, they may have just got there. And so it may not be a matter or being conscious for some energies. They may not be conscious that there has been so much time separated between the two of you and that they need to contact you. The other differences between physical and the energetic is vibration. So here we can touch things. We have this body that we have to carry around with us. We have all of these things that hold us down, and our emotions are a huge component of that. So when we're feeling, if you've noticed when you feel happy, how you just feel light and bouncy, and then when you're feeling sad, there's that, your shoulders slump and you feel that heaviness, that weight, that burden, and your vibration moves down. On the energetic side, they are already at a different level than what we are, because they no longer have to hold on to this heavy body anymore. They no longer have to hold on to the concept of time. And there's so many things that they have let go immediately. They may not have let go their emotions, and we will talk about that in a moment. But already they're vibrating at a different level than we are. And so in order for us to be able to communicate, we have to raise our vibration and they have to lower theirs. And for both sides, it's very difficult, because especially if we are newly in our grief, there are so many emotions that are going on. The feeling of loss, the feeling of someone being torn from our lives, the feeling of being confused and not knowing how we can make the next day, make it through the next day. And for them, it's they can't come obviously down to our level 100% because they're no longer part of this physical world. So that is why sometimes you may get quick glimpses, or you may get quick tingling feelings, or you may see something that happens physically, but it's just really quick. You're not going to see you may not see their body appear in front of you because they may not be able to do that. But you may see a feather, you may see a coin or something like that. And that's the best that they're able to do because of how difficult it is for them to come down back into this physical world, which is why methods like meditation and creating those moments where we can be in a state of calmness allows us to meet them so that we can have a longer period of communication with them. So those are the differences between the two worlds. Now, the second thing that I want to talk about is what happens when we cross over. So for many of us, pretty much all of us, unless you were an advanced soul and you've kind of done this many times and you're just kind of like, I got this. We pass over, we cross over, and now I'm just gonna go and do my own thing. We always have someone that is with us when we cross over. So sometimes questions that I get is, but I wasn't there and they died alone. There is never a case in which our loved one crosses over without having someone there with them. In my story, my partner saw my grandparents and my father the week before he passed away. And they came every single night, and he would tell me, he's like, I see, this person, and I see that person. And he was like, it's like they're preparing me for something. And they were preparing him to not be afraid when the time came. When he passed over, they were all there with him, and they walked him to the other side. That will be the same for your loved one if they are in a hospital, if there was an accident, if there was whatever the circumstances of the passing may have been, there is always someone who is there to meet or to be with your person when they cross over. The second thing is there is a period of, if your person was going through something traumatic, our souls and our consciousness, it's so intuitive, and it already knows what it needs to do. And so, for example, if you have someone who may have passed in a tragic event, or an event that would have been really harmful or hurtful to their body, being shot, car accident, a physical illness that they may have been suffering for a long time. During that period, the person may not be able to consciously tell you this, but during that period, what usually happens is that the soul starts moving in and out. And the soul, when in those moments when it's feeling pain, it just hops out. As a death doula, what I am able to do is sometimes go in and help that person when they're in their physical body, go and kind of do a test run to go to the energetic world to see and talk to their people and then they come back into their body. And they'll keep doing this just to get themselves just acclimated. During that time, they're not feeling anything. So sometimes you may have noticed your relative or your loved one may be in a nursing home or in hospice, and you may see those moments in which all of a sudden they look like they're peaceful and that there's nothing hurting them. And then there are moments that it looks like they come back into their body. So those are the moments when they're going in and out. So in those moments in which there may be something really painful, the soul will get the consciousness out of the body so that it doesn't feel the pain anymore. The next step, part 2, is a period of rest. So, as a reminder, time here, we may now be looking at 2, 3, 4 months in our physical world. And on their side, they're looking at 1 hour. This isn't limbo or anything like that, but it's just a period of rest. For some energies, if they left this world again tragically, or if they committed suicide, or if there was an addiction, there may be a period in which they have to rest and have to kind of work through their emotions. For some, they may not have even realized if it was an overdose that they passed away. So now imagine an energy waking up and all of a sudden realizing, wait a minute, I'm not in my normal surroundings. What's happening? And they may need time that they have to acclimate to the realization of their actions or of just what has happened. And in that state of rest, if you think about it like a hospital, there are people there, us who have passed over, who are nurses and doctors, therapists, and they work with that energy to help them to be able to accept their new reality. They help them to find ways to communicate with their loved one to let them know that they're okay. But again, as we talked about, because time is different, that healing and rest can take from a couple of our months to a couple of years, depending on how connected they were to their physical body. After the resting period, there is the life review. And just to share with you, the life review isn't you being in a courtroom and there being some being up on the top that's kind of judging you and saying that look at all these things that you've done. It is again like a group session in which the people in your lives, it could be your parents, if they have crossed over, it could be ancestors, it could be your spirit guides, your angels, whoever it is, what I call your soul tribe. You all kind of get together and you start talking about just some of the decisions that you've made in life. And it's an opportunity for that soul then to feel how their actions have affected other people. And they do this all from a very objective point of view. So the only way that the soul can do this life review is if they're in a state in which they now have accepted where they are. And they are also able to see things from an objective point of view. And so it's like watching a movie, and you will replay your life and you will look and see how your actions have created happiness in people's lives, and also how it may have created pain, and how maybe if you had done a different action, what that opportunity or result would have created. And so once this life review is done, that is when the spirit is able to go and just transition over. And in the transition, It's like the movie What Dreams May Come, for those who may have seen it with Robin Williams. The ability to create the life that you want. And so, just as here, how we have jobs and we have friends and family and things like that, it's the same over there. So, it's not like a heaven, hell, purgatory, and all this other stuff. It's just a different energetic community. So, all of those people who may have been in their soul group, family members, great grandparents, friends, cats, dogs, whoever, will now come back, and you all will be reunited. And you can create the reality that you want to be in community with other people and have a job and do and help others and be a guide. Or you may have the opportunity that you want to learn more about yourself as a soul in the universe, or you may create your life plan to come back into the next lifetime. Again, on their side, they may now be feeling like that was a 5-month journey, whereas on our end, it may feel like 10 years. So the reason why I keep talking about time is because I just want to draw the awareness that as we're trying to communicate and they're trying to communicate with us, sometimes it's like you have to get the timing right. I remember I did a ghost hunting event with my friend who's a ghost hunter, and she's a professional medium. And during this evening, there was a group of us, and not all of us were mediums and channels and things like that. There were people who were part of the event who just enjoy ghost hunting. And there was this one woman who lost her daughter 2 weeks before. And she came to this ghost hunting event in the hopes that she was going to be able to talk to her daughter. And even speaking with mediums and speaking with all of these different professionals and using the ghost hunting tools, her daughter wasn't coming through. And it was causing her so much anxiety. And I remember we were in one room, and the person who was leading the tour was showing us how sometimes spirit can talk in text messages. And so he had an app that text messages were just coming, fast and furious on his phone. And I silently said a prayer to Derek because I could see just how hurt this woman was looking for a connection. And I said, I know that this, that if the daughter has just passed away, she may not be able to talk, but is there any way that you can connect these two together? And all of a sudden, the tour guide stops, and he was like, oh, this is odd. He's like, I have a message from Derek to Val. And my girlfriend all of a sudden whips her head at me, and she's just like, what did you just do? And all of a sudden, it was like this, I'm just like closing my eyes, and I'm hoping that he doesn't say anything snarky because that's just the type of person that he is. And he just calmly says, you know how it works on this side. They need time to heal, and they need time to realize how to make the connection just as much as the person who's on your side needs to understand how to make the connection with them. And so that was a message to me to let the process just happen. And when the two of you are able to meet each other, then the two of you will be able to connect with each other. So 24 minutes of me giving that, and obviously I can talk about that for a really long time, but now here's the part about the communication. So once you and your loved one are able to find the right frequency and to communicate with each other, there are different ways that you will be able to connect. The first way that you will be able to connect is through dreams. In your dreams, you will be able to allow your subconscious to kind of suspend itself. Because what happens, if you've been with me with my readings, the brain is always thinking. The brain is always looking for ways to say that this isn't real. And so because it's not real, that there's no way that you're going to be able to communicate. When you're sleeping, the brain all of a sudden suspends itself, and then it allows for you to let other energies to communicate. Now, I don't want this to sound scary for you to think that you're sleeping and other energies are coming. That's not what's happening. But your loved one, because the two of you have a connection already, it just makes it easier for them to come into dreams and to talk to you. So there may be some of you who have had dreams in which you're saying, oh my God, I was able to have a full conversation, or I was able to smell this person, or all of a sudden I was able to feel this person. And your brain will want to tell you that that didn't happen, it was just a dream. But it wasn't. It was the way of your person being able to come down and lower their vibration. And naturally, when you sleep, because you're not stressed and worried about things going on usually, then your vibration comes up and the two of you are able to meet. To do and to have those types of dreams, I usually tell myself before I go to sleep, I wish to have a dream connection with Derek or with whoever. Please allow me to remember. Please allow me to open myself to connection. And usually, if you get into the habit of telling your brain that everything's going to be okay, then you will start receiving little sparks, little images, flashes, and then all of a sudden you will start receiving dreams. Now, this will take a little bit for it to happen. So know that the first time in your dream, you may hear your person's name in a dream, and then you'll wake up. The next time you may have a dream, then maybe you'll have a brief conversation, or you may see them across the street. Allow yourself each time to just let yourself go into your dream and just pick up little things here and there. Just to quickly go back, what I would recommend is for you to get a journal, because there are going to be things, now that you are allowing yourself to open up to communication, there are going to be things that will come at you fast and furious. And it's just a nice way to have a journal to say, this happened on this date, this happened on this date. And you'll start seeing, especially when there are moments in your life in which you would have needed that person in the physical life, when all of a sudden these messages just show up, and letting you know that they have your back still. The second way that we can communicate is through meditation. So meditation is really good because it allows us to then raise our vibration. And again, if we're moving into that higher energy and that higher consciousness, then it makes it easier for this energy to then kind of move down and to meet us. Meditation, if you haven't done it before, it will take practice just like everything else. And so don't allow yourself to get frustrated if in the first time you meditate, you don't connect. The key is that your brain has to move into a state of calmness. Again, this, what I call the hustler mind, wants to tell you so badly that this is not real, and that it's trying to get through its grief, it's trying to get through all of this other stuff, and it's telling you now you want to bring this thing and you want us to start communicating. I'm just trying to get through the day. And it's just your brain is trying to protect you. So when you meditate, it may sometimes start talking and chattering, and it knows how to do it at the right moment. All of a sudden you may start trying to meditate, and it'll say, oh, remember those shoes that are in your closet that you really need to get rid of those. And it will be the most random things that your brain will start talking to you about. I'm going to do a meditation probably this weekend, and I'll put it onto my website for you all. It'll be a free meditation, but I will teach you tips on how to quiet the monkey mind. Usually I ask people to pretend they're like a set of keys. Drop the keys in the basket. When you come home and you drop your keys in the little dish or whatever when you come in, pretend that's your brain and just drop it. Or pretend that your mind is like an oyster and just ask the brain to just drop down and just chill out. And when the brain starts realizing that it's safe, everything's okay, it's not going to go into any more trauma or grief, then it will allow you to start opening and connecting. The next way that you can communicate is through an intercessor. And an intercessor is like a medium, or can be a spiritual teacher, your priest or reverend, or even a friend. When we talk about our loved ones and about all the wonderful things and the memories that we have, and we allow ourselves to be in that space, in that moment with our partner, something happens with us and we become, in that moment, very open and lighter. And again, that's another moment from when our vibration moves up to allow them to come down to meet us. And in those moments, you may feel all of a sudden like you're talking about a story about your partner and something funny that they said. All of a sudden, you may start feeling someone like holding you, or you may all of a sudden feel this like energy of love that just emanates in your heart. And that is a confirmation that they are there with you in those moments when you are recounting their memories. And with a medium as well, you're able to connect with that energy and the memories that way. As we've talked about in other readings, just like with any person that you're buying a service from, just always be careful who you go to. Just as you can have a hairstylist that's your favorite hairstylist, or the one that down the street that you know that you'll never go to again because she cuts bangs crooked. There are going to be mediums that you will connect with, and there will be mediums that you may not connect with. You have many different types of mediums. So you have mediums who can hear, mediums who can see, mediums who can feel, mediums who can channel. Whatever your preference is, just go with what is comfortable with you, for you. And I would recommend that you, if you are able to get a recommendation from someone that you know and trust, or go onto YouTube, and if there are readers that you like, purchase a reading from them, or allow your intuition to guide you as to who you think there may be a fit. Just because also, if you're the most expensive medium, doesn't make you always the best medium. You want someone who is going to offer you that comfort, offer you that space, offer that love and that connection to you. Because this is such a personal and an emotional connection that you're making with your loved one. So you're putting that trust into someone who can hold that space for you. Another way that we can communicate is through prayer and through speaking out loud to our loved ones. I always say that prayer is a living word for gratitude, in which we can open the two-way channel to our person when we ask for strength and we ask for peace, or we pray for to do well in a job interview, or praying, asking that our loved ones look over us. In those moments, we are creating another form of meditation, allowing ourselves to be calm and to be centered, and then to allow that energy and that flow of information to come in. The same is with speaking out loud to our loved ones, in which we can ask questions, just as you would if they were here in the physical world. Ask questions and wait for the answer to come back. I personally, when Derek and I communicate through license plates, so if I ask a question, not that long after I ask the question, there will be a car in front of me that will have the word on the license plate that I need. It's just looking. I think there was a person who did a comment yesterday, and I apologize, I forget your name right now, but she said just look for the signs. And it's so important just to look for the signs, because they're there and our loved ones want to connect with us. I think sometimes we're so we're looking for a specific type of connection. Sometimes we miss it, or we're just so overwhelmed just with our love and our grief that also causes us to miss those signs. But there are different ways that we can receive signs. We can receive signs through birds or animals. You remember my story from one of my earlier readings about the dragonflies following me for months when I was going to work. Also, you have blue jays and cardinals, or doves, a bird that maybe meant something to the both of you. You also have coins. If you see a penny from heaven, as it's called, on the street, or a white feather that just randomly appears out of nowhere. Sometimes you may see your name on a wall, or you may see your partner's or your loved one's name somewhere out of just randomly. The other way we receive signs is through what I call the earth angels. So a random person who you meet at a coffee shop or is standing next to you online at the supermarket starts talking to you, and may start talking about things that you and your loved one may have talked about, or they may be giving you comforting words that you needed just at that moment where you may have been needing it the most. Another way that we receive signs is through music. So if you consciously, with the talking out loud, ask, what is the song that I need to hear today from you? And I used to do this a lot on my iPhone. Do the shuffle, and then whatever that song would come up, that was the song that I needed to hear, and I would meditate on that song all day. Also, you and your person could share a song that was very special. Maybe your father danced with you to a Nat Cole song, and that song comes on in the radio every time you get into the car. Or maybe it's a wedding song that plays, or it's a song that you went on your first date to. It's these little things that we would normally pass by on any other day, but because they hold such meaning with us and our partners, or our loved ones and families and friends, even animals, it is important for us to hear it and to look out for them. And another are images. There is on where I used to live, there used to be a wall, and every single year, high school students would do an art competition. And one year, the student went on, and it was with chalk, and they drew on the wall, and they drew a phoenix and a lion. And those two animals, the phoenix is my spirit animal, and I have in my spiritual and prayer room images of phoenix all over. And the lion was Derek. And so, again, this person has no idea who I am, no idea about my history or story. But I walked outside and I saw the side of the building and just started breaking down and crying. Love finds a way, however it needs to find its way, through an animal coming to you, through symbols, through icons, through images, through pennies, through feathers, through sending an earth angel to you, or even a child to come and just hold your hand or hug you. Our loved ones are always around us, wanting to let us know that they are not going anywhere. And just because they're in a different space, in a different energetic vibration and frequency, and it may take some time for us to get it right and to get the communication right, but they are with us through every step of the way, including this difficult step, which is the missing, the longing, and the deep love that we have. So I hope that this helped with this quick overview about energies and about crossing over and about communication. As I mentioned, I will do a meditation that will bring you through into connecting with your higher self and into meeting your loved one to be able to communicate on a deeper level and on a personal level, one-on-one. Take a look and keep an eye out in my on the Facebook. I'm sorry, we're not on Facebook, we're on YouTube. On the YouTube channel, I will post a link when it's ready. It will be on my Light in a Chaos website. Also, take a look at my blog on Light in the Chaos, and that will also bring you through my journey through grief and through communication with the afterlife. And the final thing is what is also helpful, and for some of you who enjoy reading books, there are 2 books that I think are really interesting. They're big reads, however, I think that it provides a lot of different love messages and messages to help us understand heaven and to understand the afterlife and to understand spirits and what happens when we transition. The first one is Home with God, which is In a Life That Never Ends by Neale Walsch. And this book takes you through the explanation about the death experience and about what happens when we cross over and how we try and to communicate with those that we love. The other book that is really interesting, and this is, again, it's a big read, so no pressure for this one, but it's The Destiny of Souls by Michael Newton. And these are case studies of life between lives and how we choose our life, how we choose the people who come into our life, our family members, friends, our partners, and children, and what happens when we cross over in the process of connecting with our loved ones while we are in spirit. So they should be available on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, or go to any type of bookstore, used bookstore, and see if they have it there. But these books helped me when I was first starting my research into the death experience and into what happens when we move from the physical into spirit. And it has helped me with the creation of my meditations and in helping others and connecting with their loved ones. So I will put this into the comments section of this video, but I do send you all love, and I send you all my strength and my hugs, and thank you again for allowing me to be on this journey with you, and thank you for being a part of this community and in helping each other with this difficult time, and in being supportive and being the strength when people and we all need it the most. So have a great day, and I will see you all soon. Bye.